Hi everyone, this is the module briefing for the game production module, Diploma in IT, Niam Polytechnic School of Infocom Technology. I'm recording this from the comfort of my own home because of the COVID-19 situation. And usually for my narrated PowerPoints, I will have a script. But this time I thought I'll turn on the camera, face you guys, and prove that I'm an actual person and not a robot. Okay, so we are living in uncertain times right now, um, and we are going very heavily into remote learning because of social distancing. So this module briefing is correct as of the time of this recording, but things might change, things might improve, or things might get worse. We'll work it out as we go along, but hopefully we can still have a nice, fruitful, enjoyable games production module. Right, so this is me. Hi, my name is Mr. Un. Um, I have a PhD in computer science, so technically speaking, I'm Dr. Un. Or the simplest thing is you can call me Che, which is what my other students call me. My email address is owc2. So if you have any official matters that you want to contact me about, that is how you will get me. Or for urgent matters, you can call me at 64606854, which is my office phone that I have redirected to my mobile phone. Okay, so even though I'm working at home, you can get me at this number. But please, for urgent matters only, right? This slide shows what is shown on your timetable, which is that officially our lessons are Mondays 2 to 4 and Wednesdays 9 to 11. The room currently is irrelevant. And officially, we have public holidays on the 25th of May and 10th of August that clash with our timetable lessons. However, I think game production is going to be largely remote learning. So, with you can kind of learn at your own pace, all right, although we have some checks and balances going on. So this slide is more for your reference only at this point. Okay, this will become relevant if we face-to-face lessons come back. Okay, so stay tuned, right? Okay, now let's talk about the objectives of the game production module. The first objective is probably the most important, which is to understand the game production business. Okay, so what does it take to create and develop and sell a game that's more complicated than say a one-person job like Angry Birds? Okay, so what nowadays games can be quite complex, like your Call of Duty, your League of Legends, right? Which involves a pretty large team of people. Okay, so we want to talk about how does the game get published, what are the factors to consider, like legal issues, copyright issues, and so on. We want to talk about what are the members of a game production team, like what does a game programmer do, what does a designer do, what does a producer do, and so on. Okay, we want you to be able to create game designs using a systematic approach. Now, in the games programming area of interest, this module, game production, is the one where we talk most about game design. And there will be some students who will jump straight to the technical modules next semester, like maths for games and gameplay programming. So if you go to those modules, you will have a slight advantage over your classmates who maybe have not gone to game production. Because like it or not, as long as you're in a game development team, you will influence the game design. Okay, so things like as you're coding, right? What number to put that parameter for the number of bullets in a particular weapon, right? All of those things, uh, as a game programmer, you will have an influence, which is why game design is actually quite important, right? So to be a better programmer, it is good to have some understanding of game design, which this game production module will cover. Games, more than most systems, requires prototypes. Okay, because here's the thing. Unlike most other systems, right, there are usually people who have done similar systems before. Games tend to thrive on innovation. Okay, so in a game prototype is probably the best way that you can show a potential game player or potential investor what is the idea of your game. Okay, and when we talk about a prototype, it's essentially anything that is able to communicate the idea of a game. And this could be a digital prototype, say a single playable level or a quick demo of your core game mechanic, or it could just be a paper prototype where it's just a document or a few sketches on a piece of paper, right? So it is quite important to be able to create game prototypes, which is another one of those major things that we're covering in game production. We also want to talk about playtesting, right? So a lot of things that seem fun in your head may not be that fun when you actually implement. And things that may seem fun to you may not seem fun to other people. So playtesting is really important in game development where you let playtesters try out your games, right? It may be an incomplete game, it may be just a single level, and you will try to collect feedback and make changes based uh, on what you get. So how do you properly conduct playtesting is very important in game production. And finally, we want to talk about how you can apply techniques for tuning and balancing a game design. Okay, so what happens is that after you playtest, right, what do you do with this information? How do you get so suppose your playtester says that this game is too hard, right? Um, what do you do? It's not very useful information, right? What aspects are too hard? How would you make the game easier? Is too hard just too hard for that particular player, and they will get better with the game with more practice, right, and improving the skills. Okay, so these are all factors that we will look into in the game production module. Okay, so very quickly, the topics that we'll cover would be the game production business. We'll talk about player motivations, why do people play games, and what kind of things do people enjoy, right? We'll talk about game genres. What's the difference between an RPG and a first-person shooter and a MOBA, right? An adventure game. Okay, so and why should we care about all of these game genres? We'll talk about game design principles, okay, things like game mechanics, game balance, okay. We'll talk about storytelling. Most games have some kind of structure to them, a beginning, a middle, and end, okay. And what are common features of compelling stories that allow you to design a better game, okay. We'll talk about prototyping, both paper prototyping as well as digital prototyping. And as you mentioned before, we will talk quite a bit about play testing. All right, how do you do that effectively, and how do you make use of what you learn from play testing to improve your game? Okay, so before COVID-19 and social distancing, right, we actually go pretty heavily into paper prototyping. In fact, assignment one was all about paper prototyping in the form of board games. However, because we are now doing social distancing, we will de-emphasize paper prototyping. Okay, so as a result, I will have to redesign assignment one. Probably I'll ask you all to come up with a game design document. Okay, so it's unfortunate that you're not able to experience paper prototyping in the fullest extent, but we'll make do with what we can, right? Okay, so what is the mode of conducting this module? So as all of you know, we are currently in circuit breaker mode, and with COVID-19, my assumption is worst case scenario, we are going to be 100% remote learning. Okay, but if things change, we will change to face to face because it was nice to see each other and connect, right? But right now, you can assume that all of our lessons will be conducted online. Our official platform is Mel. Okay, so what's going to happen each week for most weeks is that there will be some video lectures and then there will be some workshops, right? So for the current week, right, say for this week, okay, the video lectures I will try to release by noon of Friday of the previous week. Okay, so which means that you will have the weekend as well as the rest of the week to go through the video lectures, all right? But for most weeks, there will be a workshop that you have to complete. All right. And the submission is via your ePortfolio website. What is the ePortfolio website? That is actually what you'll be doing for the first workshop. Okay. Very quickly, for game production, I require all of you to create your own ePortfolio website. It could be the same one that you use for your FP1 or your portfolio one, or you could create a new one, right? So more details about that when we go to the workshop for the first week. Okay, and I want all of y'all to submit your workshop by the Friday of the current week. Okay, each week there will be 2 attendance polls. um you After you finish your video lectures, you take the attendance poll for the lecture component, and after you complete your workshop, you take the attendance poll for the workshop component, right? Okay, so let's talk about assessments. Okay, what we're going to have is we are going to have CAs, right? So the CAs, the workshop submissions, are graded. Okay, so they are graded, let me see, they are graded 10%. Okay, and there are going to be, okay, so in previous years there were 7 workshop submissions plus about 3%, that's about 1% each, and about 3% attendance. Okay, so in this case there will be probably 5 to 7 workshop submissions. So essentially they will be graded about 1% per workshop submission, and another 5% for attendance and class participation. Okay, so for remote learning, right, there will be various channels of communication. Later on, I'll talk about it. And I will put a little bit of weightage on your participation throughout the semester. Okay, now, we have an assignment one, which previously was paper prototype. Now it's probably going to be a game design document. It will start in week 4 and it'll go all the way to about week 7 or 8, right? And it'll take 30%. We have assignment 2, which is your digital prototype, where all of you will be creating a game with a game engine, and this is the second term, right? The second half of the semester. Right, it's a long assignment. It'll be the major part of game production, 40%. Okay. Finally, we have a common test, but because this is not really going to be a common test, so I'll just call it a test, right? And I'm scheduling it to be in week 18, okay? And it's going to be about 20%. Okay, so this test will be probably conducted in Mel, and that it will be open book, open laptop. In fact, in this module, everything is open book, open laptop. Okay, so I will talk more about the end of module test as we get to it. Okay, so this is how everything's going to be assessed. Okay, let's talk about communication channels, right? With remote learning, it is important for me to have an idea of whether all of you are following the lessons. Okay, so our main communication channel is Mel. Okay, so for video lectures and workshops, all of you should be downloading your information from Mel, and every time you complete, remember, complete the attendance poll. All right, so that is the official channel for me to find out if all of you are following lessons, right? In addition, I have created an MS team, a Microsoft Teams. All of you um, should be entered into the MS Teams already. Okay, so you can go ahead and post questions there. You can upload files there and so on, right? Now, what I'm going to do is that every Wednesday I'm going to have a synchronous conference chat. Okay, and I'm going to do it at 10 a.m. Now I know your timetable says 9 a.m. Okay, but I'm starting at 10 a.m. for 2 reasons. Number one, you should all have watched the video lectures by then, preferably. Okay, so I don't actually have to use up the first hour. And the second, probably more important reason is how many of you are actually going to get up at 9 a.m. Okay, so I'm going to push it a little bit later until 10 a.m. to um, maximize the chances of more classroom participation. Okay, so currently I'm going to, at least for the first couple of weeks, I'm going to say that this conference chat is compulsory, all right? It's a synchronous lesson, right? But if I find that everybody is okay with doing things remotely, then I may make it um, voluntary, okay, right? Now, however, if you find that the online lessons are not sufficient, you don't quite understand the lessons, okay, then as needed by appointment, okay, you can email me or you can chat with me on MS Teams, right? And set up an appointment where I can again do a synchronous chat with you over MS Teams, and you can surface questions there. Okay. Next, this one, I am open to starting a WhatsApp group. Okay. And the problem with WhatsApp is that you need to share your private number, lah, right? I'm fine with sharing my private number, and we can set up the WhatsApp on our very first lesson on the 20th of April, okay, 2 p.m. Okay, so WhatsApp is a possible alternative communication channel, although MS Teams I think is quite good. Oh, by the way, if you have not yet installed MS Teams, please do so, and I strongly encourage you to also install the free mobile version of MS Teams so that you can get notifications on your phone. And finally, you can always email me on at OWC2 for official matters. All right. Say for example, if you want to set up a consultation, okay, you can email me a couple of days beforehand, right, and book my time. Now, for this course, remember in assignment 2, you're supposed to do a digital prototype. Okay, so what the default prototyping tool is Game Maker Studio 1.4. Okay, there's a link in Mail that allows you to download the installer. Here's the thing lah, Game Maker Studio 1.4 is no longer supported since a few years ago. However, ICT has bought the lifetime license, and Game Maker Studio 1.4 is free for you to use. Okay, if you want the latest version of Game Maker Studio, which is Studio 2, I think 2 point something, you can go to Yo-Yo Games, but you have to pay for it. Now, when you download the installer from Mel, you will get the limited trial version. Okay, and later on, as we get closer to assignment 2 time, I will release the license key. Okay, now this is the default tool, meaning that if you unless you tell me otherwise, I'm going to assume that you're going to be using Game Maker. However, for assignment 2, if you want to use other tools such as Unity or Unreal Engine or Godot, right, or some other prototyping tool, go ahead, but talk to me about it first. Here's the thing lah, right? For the prototyping tool, you're going to essentially self-learn. For Game Maker, I can point you towards online tutorials. And if you have any technical issues, you can come to me because I have experience with Game Maker. Okay, but if you want to use tools like Unity and all that, you do have to self-learn, right? And the prototyping tool, I just want to say one thing about Game Maker Studio. I've had some students who really hate it. They feel that it is a little bit clumsy, but this is the reason why I'm recommending Game Maker Studio 1.4. It has successfully created a lot of commercial games, such as you might have heard of Undertale or Hotline Miami or Cook Serve Delicious. Okay, there are quite a few commercial games that have been created with Game Maker Studio 1.4, right? Yes, the latest Game Maker Studio is probably better, but we know that Game Maker Studio 1.4 is tried and tested. Okay, so I think that is sufficient for you. Now, for those of you who are looking to use some other tool for assignment 2, please bear in mind that the tool has to allow for scripting and programming. Okay, so click and drag tools such as Game Salad or Construct, and the more customized tools such as RPG Maker will not be acceptable, right? Okay, so various references, textbooks that you can take a look. The one that we'll be using a lot in terms of game design is this one by Jesse Shell. Okay, The Art of Game Design, the Book of Lenses. Okay, but you don't have to go to textbooks. There are lots of references online. So Gamma Sutra, with a lot of articles on game design. Okay, you can look at GameSpot and Steam for lots of games and game reviews. All right, so here's the thing about the game production module. All right, be warned, there will be research. Games are so broad. Okay, you have got games all the way from really involved story-heavy games like Last of Us. Okay, to very casual games like Candy Crush, or very quick action games like the mobile games and first-person shooters. there is no way in one lesson we can cover all of these things. Okay, so you do have to research. And don't be afraid if you're going to go into the game production business, right? If you want to be a games programmer, you will have to learn new technologies. Okay. The cool thing is that you're implementing these technologies in games rather than some boring spreadsheet application. Okay. So do get used to the fact that you probably won't be able to do everything from the start. You have to find out for yourself. It is important for you to participate, especially right now that we are doing things remotely. Okay, so if you have questions, please post them on MS Teams. If you see a question from a classmate that you have some views on, please respond to them. Okay, so it is key that you participate. Do not do last minute heroics. Okay, so there is a tendency, especially when we are doing remote learning, to procrastinate, right? So you need to do consistent work. Try your very best to go through the video lectures early in the week so that you are ready for a fruitful discussion on our Wednesday synchronous sessions. Okay? It is important to be diligent. Okay, you have to be consistent. Now, in your e-portfolio and your workshops, okay, there'll be a workshop pretty much every week. Do complete your workshops by the end of that week. Okay, do not keep everything towards the end. Previous experience has shown that there are a lot of students who have this tendency to say, hey, I don't have a specific deadline, so I'm not going to do it. I will do it later on when I feel like it. Spoiler alert, you'll never feel like it. All right. So do do your workshops consistently, all right, and diligently, so that if nothing else, I can monitor your progress. Okay, right? But the important thing is that you will have fun. Okay, the game production module is cool because this is the one module where you will be required to play games. Okay, you will, whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it or not, you'll be required to play games, you're required to make games, you'll be required to review games and analyze games. Okay, so and um all of your classmates will be in the same situation. They will be gamers, or at least they will be people who are interested in games. Okay, so um I hope that even though we are doing this remotely, there'll be lots of communication, lots of chatting, and lots of fun to be had. If nothing else, if your parents find you playing games, you can tell them, no, 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 I'm not actually playing games. I am researching games for the game production module. Yeah, you can go ahead and tell them that. I'm not going to say that you are wrong. Okay, and you're most likely going to be telling the truth. Okay, so that ends the module briefing. If you have any questions to clarify, you can clarify online, uh, probably in our MS Teams synchronous chat conference call on the 20th of April on Monday. So I will see at 2 p.m. All right. So I will see you then. Thank you.